Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of XRP, but we'll be taking a slightly different look than we would normally. We're not going to focus in on those small micro movements on the hourly time frame, for example, from a technical analysis standpoint. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the market, we'll take a look at the fundamental side, and then we'll jump into where I think the price is going more at a macro level. So as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe? If you're watching this on Twitter, give us a follow, and of course make sure you do give us a retweet. We really do appreciate that. Let's jump right down into today's video and start talking about XRP at a slightly different point than we would normally, right? Some of this stuff is not new, it's quite old. I mean, most people should be familiar with the fundamental side of XRP, but I'm going to go through a few things here of interest anyway, so that you guys can be maybe familiar. Just familiarize yourself with things, or maybe there's something here that you didn't know about, right? We're going to start things off with coin market cap for XRP. At the point of recording this video, the price is 62.85 cents. It doesn't really matter because we're not really talking about the micro movements of the intraday stuff. Ultimately, we are talking more the macro kind of thoughts and things like that. So price aside, we can see that the market cap today is hovering at $33.17 billion. So pretty reasonable, but market cap only really represents price at a macro level. What I mean by this is the market cap is the circulating supply of XRP multiplied by the current price of XRP. What market cap does not show you is the value in XRP. It doesn't show you the liquidity of XRP, and it doesn't show you the amount of money that's gone into XRP. It's a simple calculation, a theoretical number, if you will, because it's impossible to extract or liquidate all XRP instantaneously and actually pull out $33.17 billion, right? So the market cap in itself can sometimes be quite tricky. It can sometimes trick people into thinking that price simply cannot go to a certain level because the market cap would just be too high of a number. Ultimately, it's a calculation at the end of the day, and the market cap will represent whatever the price is multiplied by the circulating supply. And so really we have to think about what moves price, and when we figure that out, then we can understand where things could potentially be going outside of market cap. Ultimately, I think market cap is a big scam to retail investors. It tricks people into thinking that the impossible just simply cannot happen because it's at such a huge number that they can't wrap their heads around. But ultimately, I think it's a big smoke and mirrors game. Ultimately, everything that really matters is supply and demand, not market cap. Market cap is great to be able to rank things in a listing, but these are all just theoretical numbers. They don't actually represent anything notable. So market cap aside, we can see that the total supply of XRP, it's at 99,988,519,823 XRP. The maximum supply is sitting at the 100 billion level. Currently in circulating supply, there's 52.7 billion XRP, and the rest of it kind of sits in Ripple's treasury. It's basically in an escrow account, and every month releases 3 billion tokens, of which Ripple put back into the escrow anything that's not needed. On most cases, you can see over 2.5 billion actually going back into the treasury of the escrow account, and it kind of protects the price action of XRP to a point as well, knowing that they're only really going to be utilizing what's needed, and the rest of it goes back into the escrow on a smart contract that distributes it back to Ripple, 3 billion every single month, and of course most of it ends up back in the escrow account. This means that you can kind of see that XRP is being utilized by Ripple for the purpose of building out what they need to in terms of RippleNet and bringing on partnerships of people who need it, whether that's institutional level sales and so forth, incentives for using RippleNet and things like that. Ultimately, I don't see this as a big issue. Essentially, that will eventually end up in circulating supply at some point in the future, but I'm not too concerned over how Ripple are behaving. History tells us that they're actually doing a pretty good job at managing that fund. So with 52 billion out in circulating supply, I don't see that as a big problem. There are many markets on XRP, and you can see a list of them here on CoinMarketCap of where you can kind of purchase XRP. Personally, my go-to exchange is BitGet. I've talked about this all the time. BitGet is my go-to platform when it comes to pretty much 100% leverage and 90 to 95% of my spot buys, right? I use this one as my go-to platform. I do have other exchanges such as Binance, Binance, KuCoin, Coinbase, Gate.io, Crypto.com, and so many others, right? Bybit, and so forth. But BitGet is my go-to, right? And so if you haven't yet signed up, there's a link in the description below in the YouTube video and in the link tree. Why not check it out if you're on Twitter as well? So from a kind of overview point of view, there's plenty of markets that you can get involved in. I know the US side of the world does struggle with this because of various things that we're going to talk about in this video as well. So let's actually go ahead and jump this up into that fundamental side of things, because the XRPL, which is the ledger that basically records all the transactions on XRP, has been doing some pretty cool things recently, or you can see some pretty decent adoption of XRP recently, I should say. For those who do not know much about the XRPL, how it works and all that kind of stuff, you can head over to xrpl.org and you can find out more information about this. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff today in today's video. It would just be a really long, lengthy video when all the information is already here and it's kind of well documented. So you can go ahead and check that out from the fundamental side of things. But as it says here, XRPL today and the vision for tomorrow. Now, from a fundamental standpoint, what is XRP and the XRPL doing? Well, essentially, it is confirming transactions. And one of the things that the Ripple, I should say, and XRP are well known for is moving money across borders, right? And they do this incredibly well and very efficiently. With that kind of vision in mind of basically making it as easy as sending an email, right? You should be able to send money from one country to another, and it should be as quick as an email. So 3 to 5 second finality on the XRPL. And well, we've got some interesting stats for you when it comes to the XRPL, right? So if we come on over into our membership website, obviously linked in the description below as well, or in the link tree if you're on Twitter, we do offer a 7-day free trial. You can check out all the various things we have to offer. I feel tired of talking about this because I do feel that actually go down into our Discord server, ask our members what they think of it, and they'll be better testimony than me talking about it. But inside our website here of membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗏, there is a data zone. Inside the data zone, there's an XRP data range, and inside this XRP data, you will find all of this on-chain metrics, and these on-chain metrics are quite really impressive, right? And so as we kind of get into this, we can see that we had the all-time high at $3.40. We have that high was 2,046 days ago. We're 80% down from that all-time high. The average gas fee for XRP sits at 0.0022 of an XRP, which that's going to be a really important metric to keep an eye on later. We have the average transaction value is currently sat at $679 in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, the fees paid in XRP were $2,647. And that's not dollars. That's 2,647 XRP. The dollars value is $1,660. And for that, we saw 1.2 million transactions, right? So 1.2 million transactions, and it cost $1,660, right? So this comes down to having a vision of what XRP is supposed to be doing, okay? And basically it's moving money around and being incredibly efficient at doing it, right? And we can see here that we've had over 1.2 million transactions in the last 24 hours, and it cost $1,660. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, sure. That sounds great. It's fantastic. But let's go ahead and just pull this into comparisons for us, right? If we go ahead and take a look at Ethereum's data, okay, we can see down here at the bottom that there were 972,000 transactions. So less transactions, so the sum of around 300,000 less transactions. And it cost $3.6 million to complete those transactions. This essentially tells us that XRP is a hell of a lot more efficient than some of these other platforms out there. We can even take a look at Bitcoin if we wanted to and reflect on how Bitcoin is performing, right? 512,000 transactions at $682,000. So you start thinking to yourself, well, XRP is all of a sudden becoming very apparent that it's very good at what it's designed to do, which is move money across the chain incredibly efficiently. 1.2 million transactions, $1,600. And there isn't really many blockchain technologies out there that are coming anywhere near this kind of efficiency. This is incredibly efficient at moving money around the world. And regardless of circulating supply, regardless of price, it does a very, very good job at it. So when we start thinking about XRP, it's hard to avoid some of the other things that have been bubbling in the background, right? So we know that its technology is very good. We know that there's a good, reasonable circulating supply, and we know that there's an escrow account that has good metrics around distribution through smart contract, and that Ripple are acting in very good faith in putting that XRP back into that treasury fund in that escrow account. And we know that the XRPL is very efficient at doing exactly what it's designed to do. The on-chain metrics are displaying that it's outperforming many of these other more prominent cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But of course, there's a big elephant in the room: the Ripple versus, or the SEC versus Ripple, as I should say, because it is the SEC that brought this lawsuit against Ripple. So there's a lot being bubbling in the background regarding this particular lawsuit. I do think that they're not going to do this justice myself in this particular video, but it's definitely something that's well worth kind of keeping an eye on and understanding the importance of this lawsuit for the entire crypto industry. Ultimately, I do think that XRP is going to perform incredibly well when this case comes to an end. And we've already seen some partial victories for XRP, specifically with the judge Torres saying that essentially the secondary market, where retail investors do not know whether it's a security or not, cannot be deemed a security if they cannot be provided the information that it is a security. And for the most part, essentially, this really just comes back to the fact that secondary sales on an exchange of XRP is not sales of securities. However, we have to consider, and that is however with a V, because I know there's people in the comments that seem to think I say however with a TH, but it's a V. I think that's just the microphone not coming across, but dissect that. Probably going off on a tangent. Let's get back into the point here, right? My point here is that the institutional sales of XRP, whether that is Ripple themselves selling XRP through the exchanges or Ripple selling XRP directly to other institutional players, could be that of a security sale. And that is the part that is potentially going to court in early 2024, and that may even get dragged through into 2025, right? We don't know how long that's going to play out. But essentially, what we're saying here is that the secondary sales of XRP from retail investors on exchanges are not security sales, and only those really that are involving institutional grade players potentially are that of a security. Again, it still comes down to the fact that the SEC haven't really put down any good grounds to say that Ripple knew what they were doing, and Ripple have all the evidence to say they were trying to reach out to the SEC to try to get clarity on this, and they've been kind of front running this problem or this argument for quite some time in the crypto space, right? Ripple really want to get clarity, and the SEC really don't want to provide it. So there's a lot of things going on backwards and forwards, but like I say, I'm not the best person to talk about the ins and the outs of the US lawsuit when it comes to the SEC and Ripple, but it is one that you're going to want to keep a close eye on, because the implications of this will have a profound effect to the price action, which brings me on to the price action of the part of the video. So price action, for the most part for XRP, has been very interesting as of late. We've seen a pretty significant move to the upside where it was trying to push up towards that $1 level, but it has been rejected. I suspect that we are still looking pretty decently here for another move to the downside on our daily time frame, and I do suspect that we are likely to kind of see this move back down towards that 50-cent range. Now, we are looking at a potential theoretical bounce here before potentially losing 50 cent as a support level. Ultimately, 53 to 58 cent is my area of interest for support, and we should be expecting a bounce from here. From here, we might see a significant surge upwards, or we might just see a really poor performing bounce where we then actually get a reversal and we break back down again. One of the things I'm more confident on, though, is that the potential bottom here for XRP could be in. We saw this back in June of 2022. It looks like a pretty strong move has been had to the upside, and the bottom at 28.686 may actually be in for XRP, preventing us from going down lower with everything that is bubbling around that SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Obviously, this is subject to change. We might see some fluctuations in the future, but at the moment, we're above the 50 and 200 EMAs on the daily time frame, and things are looking reasonably strong across some of these larger timeframes as well. Now, when it comes to understanding where we currently sit, we have to also think, well, where is price going? And for that, what we're going to do is we're going to jump on up into the price target range, right? And from here, we are looking at XRP paired up with USD on a 1 week time frame. This time Bitstamp is our data source. And we can see several things of interest here, right? We have the March low, March 2020 low at 11.4 cent. Okay, and we can see this fantastic run to the upside. Now, for the most part, we've had a really poor performing bull run in 2021. This is pretty much courtesy of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗓, the lawsuit that he dropped on Ripple from the SEC. We saw a big drop to the downside and a lackluster move to the upside. Now, this is not looking overly great, but for the most part, we can still see the great run that we had back in 2017 as our starting position. And this is where things get really interesting for XRP. Now, we have the kind of short-term or medium-term, I probably would say, ideas here, where we can see that, okay, we potentially bottomed out at that 28 cent level, right? And we can see the targeted move up towards maybe $10, right? Potentially a little bit more than that if we really needed to. Ultimately, this looks like a three-wave pattern from here to here and here, okay? And it isn't overly too problematic, right? We can see this between $4.87 and $9.54 on the USD pair, right? However, we need to consider, and that's again, however, with a V, we can see that we have this move up here to this high and this bear market low point that we had over here in March of 2020, okay, as a potential move for us to see a run upwards, right? If I go ahead and see if I can actually pull this directly onto that target range, let's see if I can get this one. It's going to be a little bit fiddly. It's not going to let me unless I zoom right in. Bear with me 1 second here. I want to make sure that I get this right on that wick low at 40. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this back in. Okay, and zoom this back out a little bit. So from our low point down here, and if I pull this out just a fraction, we had this really good run. We had this bear market low point. We might actually still be in that potential move up higher. And this would actually land us at a significantly higher price. And this is quite phenomenal, right? Because we can see here that there's a theoretical move here between $122 and $633. Now, it's going to be require a lot to get us there, right? We can't just think that we're going to go straight up into that target range, specifically when we had this lackluster performance so far. I do not think we can push up into this range here without first having that lawsuit come to an end and that lawsuit being really positive for Ripple and XRP. I think it's more important that we reflect on these current levels down here between the 487 and 954. But, you know, it's good to see that there are some higher price predictions out there, and we do technically have the ability to be able to draw them into the charts as well. So whether or not you believe that, you know, $122 is way too extreme or $633 is way too extreme, there are some obviously more conservative targets here as well, 487 to 954. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Do you think $633 is something that's going to happen? It's an inevitability. Maybe it might take 5 years, 10 years from now. Or do you think actually it's more realistic to be hovering around that $10 level? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to wrap this video up right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.